print is called, this technique of printing is called Dabu, D-A-B-U, Dabu, and it's otherwise known as mud resist printing. So the story goes that a dhobi once left his clothes lying on the banks of the river, and the mud got sort of stuck on the one side of the cloth, and when he dipped it in his indigo dye, he figured out that those portions where the mud was stuck to the fabric didn't get dyed, and it sort of resisted the dye. And so from then on, that's supposed to be the genesis of mud resist dyeing. So what they do is they first, in all block printing, they first they first boil the fabric in a chemical which is a mordant, so that the dyes catch on. Because otherwise, if I just take any piece of cloth, it doesn't work on that. It has to be, it has to go through this process first for the dyes to catch on. And after that, what they do is they've got these. I can show you some pictures on my computer. What they do is they make a paste. Okay, this paste is made of gum and lime and one more thing, I forget what, some tree root, and it's put on on coir. You know coir, C-O-I-R.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's to hold it up, and they dip it in that, and they dip it on the fabric, and then they sprinkle sawdust over it so that it sticks on, and the gum doesn't leak onto the rest of the fabric. Now it's dyed. So, for example, if I wanted this, I want this in white. I've put that on this. I dyed it in blue. When I remove the mud resist off, there's white on the portions where I did that, and it's blue here. Now if I want to do another process on it, like there's beige color over here and there's red over it, I repeat the same process again.
You get these pieces?
Rajasthan, in a place called Peeper. It's 100 kilometers from Jodhpur towards Jaipur, as it comes to them. And this Ajrak, also block printing, I would say is a far more refined process than this. Here also the basis is mud resist, resist to a certain extent, but this is far more complex. How they work is, there's a lot of stages of boiling and all of this. I'm not even telling you that because I don't know them myself. The fabric gets washed. Even before they start, they wash the fabric many times because they want it to be of a particular size. Because once it goes through the mill, it's of a certain size, and they de-size it to make it more comfortable for them to block print on it. Then it goes through washing, and when I mean washing, it's pounded. It's pounded many times, washed, dried, washed, pounded, dried again. Then they dip it in that mordant and it's dried. And at first they do a resist, a basic outline. So that's this. If you can see here, what you see in these beige dots, that's the first outline. Then they do the black outline. So which means these are all different blocks. Because there's one block that did the dots, there's one block that did the lines, and those blocks will have the dots go in and this bit come out, and the portion where the red is now, if you can see.
How do they place the second block and make sure it's in the right spot?
These guys they just know how to do it. They just know where to do it, and they're just that precise, and it's in their blood. I met this one guy over there. He can't hear or speak, but he's supposed to be one of their best block printers, and he showed me all the pieces that were his, and the person who runs the place, he was telling me that his precision is by far unmatched. So it's extremely instinctive. And now supposing I show you the difference between the red and the green. If I want this alizarin color, I have to dye it again. And if I want a blue-green color, I can't seem to find that. There's a blue-green color also. It's also here, this one. See, there's green. If I want this alizarin, Then they dip it in a paste of alum and print it again. So that's an added extra process. So as you can see, this is far more refined than that one. There's a rustic charm to Dabu,
Yes.
but this is very precise, very Mughal, very
Yes.
geometric, very web-like almost. And then there's the basic Jaipur printing. As you can see, all these fabrics, you can just here there's it's a flat printing process. They've got, supposing this is the design, they've got 1, 2, 3 blocks for it. And one does the outline, one does the inside, one does this side of the flower, one does the other side of the flower. Also complex, but less in comparison to the others. As you can see, these. And they also have a lot of Mughal influence. These, for example. These are a little bit more modern, I think. I don't know. Poppy seeds, it's quite a popular print. Should I take it out?
Yes. Oh, well, that's okay. And where were these from?
Jaipur.
Jaipur, yes.
Most block printing is in and around Rajasthan and Gujarat. Those are the hubs of it. Ajrak, from a place called Ajrakpur in Gujarat, and Dabu. There are lots of hubs, but the place I bought them from are Pipar, which is like really interior Rajasthan, and I also got it from Barmer. So these are supposed to be people who came from the Sindh province and after partition settled in various parts of Rajasthan and Gujarat, and then they've continued their tradition.